Nobody knows where they're going at the beginning of their life like that. I feel like way too lucky.
You were really accepted by a rock audience wholeheartedly.
When the sisters sing together, there's this thing that happens.
Yeah. There's something magical about when siblings can put their voices together. It's a God-given kind of spookiness.
It is kind of spooky.
Yeah, it is. It's like beauty, charisma, sass, fire, a voice, and not just a voice, a voice that means something to people.
It sounds great on the radio, and you just want to roll down your window, and chew gum or something.
Nancy, thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
It's such a big story, so I'm going to start in a very obvious spot. I'll try to avoid all the obvious, but it seems such a watershed moment when the Beatles start appearing at Ed Sullivan. How many musicians they inspired to say, I want to do that.
Completely.
And you and your sister kind of had that moment.
That was the same lightning bolt that hit the planet, hit us as well as musicians.
Yeah.
And we were like, we became the zombies for guitars,
Were you already playing, or was that?
Musical family. Yeah. So kind of the Von Trapps in a lot of ways. We were all singing together in the car.
Yeah.
And ukuleles and pianos and harmony.
Yeah. So you're already in a musical mindset, and then you see that and you think, okay, that sort of organizes where I want to go.
That completely organized, focused in our attentions on the rest of our lives, what we wanted to do.
But
we're so lucky that way.
What was it about the guitar for you that, because, guitar players are a particular breed.
Yeah, they're weird.
Yeah, thank you. It's a kind of a nerdish thing that goes on.
Do you have a guitar pick on you?
What's that?
Do you have a guitar pick on you?
I think I do, actually.
I'll trade you.
Okay.
Yeah, a Steely for a Fury.
Yeah.
It's kind of like trading marbles.
What was it about the guitar that spoke to you?
Well, it's, I have a musical facility, I guess, I'm just a musical person, born into it, with parents, that taught us harmony singing and piano lessons and flute and clarinet. And so when the Beatles showed up, it was like, must have guitar. And I just took to it. It absorbed me. It still does.
Yeah.
But when I was 9, it was like, this is my purpose, is to learn how to play every Beatles song.
Wow.
And every hit song that was on the top 40 radio station, the terrestrial radio station. Yeah. And, I learned how to read music a couple times, but I never needed it really. I just used your ears. When you have good ears, you have good ears.
Yeah.
So you can imitate what you hear and approximate what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But the guitar I got the worst guitar of all time. Was the first one, $30 rental from the Bandstand music store down the street. And it was a Lyle.
I was going to say, remember the brand.
Yeah.
A Lyle,
it was like a 3/4 size plywood guitar with like a dowel neck.
Yeah.
And the strings were about that far off the fretboard.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was life without F. You can't play F.
Now, there's a guitar player joke. Right. I know exactly what you mean.
No bar chords allowed.
I didn't play any Fs for like the first 10 years of my life. It was like, this is too hard.
It's a guitar player joke.
Right? Yeah.
It's truly is. But Anne got a good guitar from our grandma because we were all interested in being not like the Beatles. We wanted to be the actual Beatles, have a band.
Yeah.
Be like the guys.
Yeah.
Not be the guys.
Yeah.
Not like the guys or girlfriends of the guys, but be them.
Yeah.
And her guitar was playable, so I would sneak off with her guitar.
Yeah.
And she'd get really pissed off at me. You took my guitar, give it back. And
It's striking that you were so young and both you kind of arrived at this.
Well, she had this facility for vocal facility, like God-given, or from the Great Spirit.
It is kind of frightening
it came from above, you know.
But it is kind of frightening as somebody who sings and you sing that it sounds so easy for her.
I know.
She hits like crazy notes, and it's just like
she's just like pyrotechnically, and effortless.
And even if you listen to your first record, which we'll get to in a second, but it's she's already there. It's not like you don't hear somebody in development.
No, it's just already. But you hear. Well, I'm an expert on the topic.
Yes, please.
But during the course of our little run here for 50 years, one time, you can hear the Elton John influence in her accent of singing on like Dreamboat Annie. She'd go like, you know, she'd have like that little country slang kind of vocal accent.
Yeah, right.
And
I get that.
And then of course Robert Plant was massive influence, you know, on, but not very slick, not, you know, the females of the time, they were more R&B or psychedelia, very slick.
But like all great artists, it sounds like her, no matter what it is. Yeah.
And my parents would be having a party downstairs, and it's like, come on down, and girls, come on down and entertain the party.
Oh, okay.
So they go, Ed, do your Ethel Merman imitation, you know, and she'd sing Hawaiian wedding song, like with the big, or like, there's no business like show biz. That was the Ethel Merman sound.
Yeah.
That as a little kid, she was like able to belt, you know, and just entertain.
Well, Judy Garland had the same thing. You know, I think Judy Garland started on stage when she was 4.
Yeah.
And I think by the time she was 6, she was appearing on, you know, big old school 2,000-seat theater stages.
Born in a trunk.
But she had that big voice, right?
She just had that projecting, you know, but but all of the kind of emotional muscle behind it too, you know.
Yeah.
Because Anne was kind of the ugly duckling, you know, the little fat chick with the braces, and so I think a lot of her pain was part of the muscle that she put behind her vocalizing to prove the point, you know, that she was kind of lovable. And she proved it. She totally proved it.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, because, you know, you have to do your research, but the band Viewpoint?
Yes.
You were in Viewpoint at some point.
We were called the Viewpoints.
Okay, the Viewpoints.
You know, because we were a little collective of 4 high school.
All female, right?
All 4 girls. Mm-hmm. I was in junior high and they were in high school. And we were doing Bob Dylan protest music, right? Okay. So like 4 little white chicks from suburbia called the Viewpoints, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's a very...
What a name now. I get it.
Such rebels, you know, with our skirts and our jackets that matched the Beatles uniforms, actually, because our mom would sew us those uniforms to match the Beatles outfits. Yeah. So, yeah, we were our little folk quartet called the Viewpoints, singing about Vietnam and stuff like that from middle class, lower middle class suburbia.
So this would be like late 60s?
Yeah, right after the Beatles.
Wow.
Yeah. Right before the big Summer of Love. And
yeah. I saw some indication where you also would play solo too, solo acoustic. Is that?
Yeah. I knew I was always going to be in Anne's band because of bands like the Viewpoints and the little Rapunzel. We had a band once for a while, and then we were, but she's being 4 years older than me. She got into bands that had drums and amps and stuff first, and she was able to play at places that served alcohol first.
I see. So
I had to hang back for a couple of years. I decided, even though I knew I was going to join her band, obviously, I went to university first to kind of declare my independence as an individual from being her little shadow for all those years. And so I'm real happy I did that, because I read all about, you know, Dostoevsky and and I got into Goethe and Nietzsche and all that stuff, all that college girl stuff. When you love Todd Rundgren, stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, every college girl must love Todd Rundgren.
Yes.
Right.
A wizard and a true star is Todd Rundgren.
Right. Right.
I think that's interesting, though. So you had a sense of destiny with your sister. What was your relationship like then? I mean, because, you know, the focus always is on the relationship within the context of the band.
Right.
Because that's where the most people go.
Yeah.
But what was your, like, if there wasn't a band, if there wasn't music, what was your relationship like then?
That's an interesting question. I've never been asked, you know, but because my own self-definition has been Anne's sidekick ever since I was born, basically. We have a third sister who's 8 years older than me, and so I'm the youngest. But Anne always was kind of like the initiator. She instigated, like, before we even had rock bands or the Beatles came along, she was like, well, let's make a play in the garage and, you know, like charge for Kool-Aid and have the neighbors come over and have a little comedy show. And our dad had a reel-to-reel Sony 2-track, and we'd make little comedy records, and I still have those things for the documentary that's coming up. But, you know, it's really fun, clever stuff that young people are capable of when given the right tools. Yeah. We had guitars and we had humor. We had a solid family life with musical people, you know, family that we came out of. And I think, I mean, even when I got real angsty and the hormone poisoning started to kick in, you know, when you're like 16 and 17, you know, and you get, you know, it was like, oh God, my family's too happy. Like, I'm not cool enough because my family is tightened together, you know, because we're military. Yeah. And so we stick together like a troop, you know, and pull the wagons in a circle, a little love circle in our family. Because we had to move and move and move and move and be the newcomers everywhere and have our little musical tribe. And so I'd be like, really embarrassed that my parents were not divorced, you know, stuff like, I don't have anything to
not
really...
enough trauma.
Yeah, not enough trauma to, like, whine about, you know. So we had a really solid family. Yeah. For like, being little productions and the joy of our parents, like, helping us out, making costumes and... all that stuff.
I was going to ask you, because you have these experiences of living in Taiwan and I think Panama, or
Panama.
That's not everyone's experience to kind of live internationally very young.
Yeah. Well, I was born into, I came after Panama, but they lived in the Carolinas and Taiwan when I was really a kid. Like 2,
Do you have any memory of those times?
A lot of home movies that jog your memory, I think. Sure, yeah. And I think I do remember a few things. Yeah, pretty well, actually. A lot of sense memory, and the water buffalo, and, you know, there was a compound, a walled-in, safe compound where the military families were living, where there was shooting outside the walls and stuff like that. Yeah. And, you know, there was a hired staff inside of our compound to help us cook, and the nanny, and but you know, there was typhoid, and there was all kinds of, you know, all kinds of tropical sudden downpours, and just a really rich sense memory of being a little kid in all that humidity and turmoil and stuff.
Color and
smell
and
yeah.
I know. So your father was a Marine.
Yeah, he retired as a major.
And so your grandfather, brigadier general.
And then his dad retired as a 4-star brigadier general.
That's crazy.
John Bushrod Wilson Sr.
Isn't there a military base named after your grandfather?
I don't know.
I read that somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if AI says it, then I'm going to believe that.
I don't know. I mean,
some things.
I read stuff all the time that's not correct, but I thought that's an interesting detail. They said it
could
was
be. Well,
it was connected to 29 bunch palms out there by Joshua
yeah, there
Tree.
is. There is. You're right. We got a little flag memento that they gave us.
Yeah.
Out there. That's why.
Yeah.
And yeah, when my dad actually passed on, the color guard came out to the house and did the salute and all of that in the proper way. But yeah, my granddad, my uncle, my dad, a lot of military, a lot of Marines.
Yeah.
In the family, and from my mom's side, the World War I military, a lot of fighters, a lot of warriors in my family.
So was there any, as you're moving into music in this intense countercultural time, kind of like what we have now?
Yeah, no kidding.
You're coming from a traditional military background, and yet you're also in step with your generation. You're singing protest songs. Was there any consternation on your parents' part that you're going to misrepresent something, or was that at play at all?
Well, it was really amazing how my parents evolved through the late 60s, where Vietnam got more like a dirty war. My dad had just retired and become an English teacher because he had a sense of higher learning and poetry that he wanted to pursue after all the horror that he'd seen in World War II. And so he became kind of he was enjoying his peacetime that he fought for, right?
I see.
And then fell in love with the magic man, who was a draft evader.
This is Michael
Fisher.
Thank you. Yes,
the brother of the guitar player that I unwisely walked into a relationship with. But anyway,
never date a guitar player.
Never date or a drummer or a bass player.
You definitely don't want to date a drummer.
Don't date a drummer. No. Yeah, but do not lie down with drummers.
Yes,
as they say. So my dad was enlightened enough at the time, and disagreed enough about the Vietnam War, how that was being handled, and they called it a military action instead of a war.
Was that something you talked openly about?
Yeah. And he stopped recruiting for the Marines because of Vietnam.
Wow.
And he then became an English teacher instead. And so when Anne moved up to Vancouver from Seattle, where we lived, hitchhiking with a backpack and a guitar, basically, in the day when you could trust an unknown driver, maybe, he was okay with it. He said, you tell that young man that I wouldn't fight that dirty war either. And,
I see.
So he agreed with, being basically he was a conscientious objector about the way that war was being handled. War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little unclear. There was a band Hocus Pocus, or it was White Heart.
Yeah,
so she's kind of...
After the Viewpoints and Rapunzel, then Anne launched into garages that had drums and amps and stuff before I could go play those clubs with her.
Yeah.
So she had A Boy and His Dog. She had Daybreak. She had the one you just said.
There was Hocus Pocus, White Heart.
And White Heart, which then became Heart about the same minute that I joined Heart.
Okay, I got to stop here. This is, to me, one of the funniest stories of your life. So they weren't sure about you joining, so they made you learn the Yes song, The Clap, which you got to be a Yes fan to know what that is. But when I read that, I thought, this is so crazy.
You know that song.
Of course, yeah. This is kind of Steve Howe's kind of show-offy.
It's a real show-offy,
acoustic piece. I actually saw Steve Howe play the Clap with Asia in 1981.
You did?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
course, the crowd went crazy, because
Of course they
he's
did.
playing the clap.
Well, I could still play most of the clap, but
I say that's why I reach for a guitar and
yeah, like here
you go.
Well, I'd need a little practice, a little warm up first, but
that's I could never play. I could never play that. That's a pretty impressive thing to sort of show up and play.
Thanks. Well, I already was really proficient, because like guys like Paul Simon, all that great finger style.
Yeah, you learned all those.
I learned all that stuff off the bat.
Yeah,
because that was
country blues too, or just more the folky.
All
version?
Of the above.
Wow.
Like all country music. Pretty much everything except jazz, I guess.
Yeah,
because jazz is more like a reading music type of playing.
But did you see them kind of? Okay, jump over this wall. Let's see if you can jump. Was it because you were the sister, or is it because you were female, or all of the above, or were they just like you're an outsider? What was the?
I think it was because I was the little sister, and the nepotistic aspect of just because she's your sister doesn't mean she's good enough to go play cabarets in Vancouver with us, the #1 cabaret band in Vancouver. They just changed our name to Heart.
They were good musicians. I will.
They were really good.
Say that. I mean, they come off. There's a serious vibe to their thing.
They were seriously good club band, really good.
But back then, you had to be. My father was a club musician too. You probably don't know that. But
yeah.
So I grew up in that world where it's like you had to be able to play.
And you played a lot long sets. You played like almost an hour, a break, almost another hour.
Yeah.
Another break, almost another hour, a break, and then the last short set.
Yeah, my dad used to say
and then kick all the drunk people out.
5 45-minute sets is what he would do.
Yeah, 5 45-minute sets. That's what I.
Yeah. So imagine, but
that was my initiation.
The upside is when these bands like your band broke into the world, they know how to play. They know how to speak to an audience.
Right. It's the experience it's the live experience that I think a lot of people are missing out now. I mean. One of the reasons in our social media, infused world right now is people don't have that experience that record companies used to help, develop their artists and make their, I'll pay for rent if you go on the road and learn your craft, we'll subsidize you to go learn the live craft of playing live music. And sounding as cool as your recording sounded. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I have a management company now helping young artists do that. But
okay. That's interesting.
It's another conversation.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, I will. I mean, happily.
I don't mind derailing it for a second.
Okay, let me be derailed.
Yeah, please.
Let me derail myself. I have a little company called Roadcase Productions or Roadcase Management, and we've got a graphic artist named Sketchy Goat she's from Texas, but she does a lot of the Seattle musicians like Jerry Cantrell, and she does Weird Al, and she does Nancy Wilson, and she's done a Heart t-shirt for us. And you obviously worked with Sketchy Goat.
Did I?
You did.
I don't remember that.
She made you some, I think it was really cool posters and stuff, but she worked with you.
Okay. I don't know the Sketchy Goat name.
But anyway, now she has management. And yeah, so that's part of that. And then, but for the music side right now, I have Deloitte LZ, who's got an album, Rite of Passage, that's amazing. It's digital twang. It's very country, very Americana with digital interference, sort of cool stuff. And another developing girl who's an amazing singer-songwriter too, Madison XOXO.
Okay.
And I'm trying to help get her out on the road and get her album out soon. But Deloitte LZ just got signed with Concord Records.
Oh, wow.
And he's touring now too.
Wow.
So
are you taking more of a development position, helping and seeding and
develop young, talented singer-songwriters.
Wow, okay.
And a graphic artist.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so I got to derail myself and do, shameless promotion.
But it dovetails into, because this is the point in your life where it's like, here comes the management, the record label, it's that moment.
Back to like the great spirit of art. You know what I mean? Like, that's been my
well, we both know that, record companies don't do A&R anymore. There's no
right. That's kind of
talent development. I
that's
mean, you
the
hinted at
reason.
it, but I'm talking about the actual reality. They don't even have a department. There's nobody.
There's no artist relation department. Yeah, A&R.
It's strictly, you have to figure out how to get yourself over on social media. If you get enough numbers, they might sign you.
Yeah, and radio is not helping. I mean, programming.
Well,
I mean,
TikTok probably right now is probably the greatest driver for young people to find music.
Exactly
But
right.
Jimmy Chamberlain from the Pumpkins was telling me recently that they did a study and found that there's actually not a ton of conversion from people liking stuff on TikTok to actually going and listening to it on a streaming platform.
Right? Yeah.
So
when I go through my Instagram, I'll buy albums.
Me too.
That I hear about.
But isn't it interesting that if TikTok is the greatest sort of marketing tool for young artists to reach people, there isn't necessarily a conversion to get those people to go listen to those people on streaming services. They'll listen to them on TikTok.
Yeah. So they'll just watch what they like on TikTok some more.
It becomes, And
instead of like, I want to see them live, or I want to go.
I don't remember this artist's name, but I heard this thing the other day where an artist will put up a 30-second clip of a song. He'll only record 30 seconds of a song. And if people like it and he gets enough traction, he'll go and record the song.
Wow.
Yeah, that blew my mind.
Attention span theater.
I don't know, but that blew my mind because it's unfathomable to me, at least in the world we grew up in, that you would ask the audience to tell you who to be. Of course, the artist would say, "Well, I'm being who I want." No, you're asking the audience to tell you which version of yourself to be.
That's right. That's what that is.
That's kind of weird because,
like, here's a color swatch. What color do you want? This room to paint your room. Yeah. That's wild. That's really wild. I've never heard that.
Yeah, Mike Flicker, Mushroom Records, kind of take me through that.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, I saw this and tell me if this is true. So were they in the paint business or something?
Right.
Somebody was in the paint business and they had a little label and a studio.
They had a little studio down by the river.
Exactly. Down by the river.
Like a song.
Yeah.
It is one. But down by the river in Vancouver, that a paint company family had as kind of like a vanity side project thing, like, we could make we could, record some local artists and make singles and stamp out some, vinyls and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so they were making, Mike Flicker at the time with Howard Leese were little production team there making switched on Bach records and stuff like that. So electronic, musical, instrumental stuff like that. Switched on Beatles, which was a big rage at the minute.
Yeah, I have all those records, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You have them on vinyl?
I love all that stuff.
All the vinyl stuff?
I don't know. There's that moment where because of the success of Wendy Carlos, there's all those weird, like...
You have Edgar Varese.
I don't know who that
is.
The
electronique. Strange.
Are you talking about
electronic?
Is it Varese or
yes?
Okay, so I don't know how to say the name, but
I don't. Varese.
Wasn't Zappa obsessed with him?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
He would write like 2 symphonies and have 2 orchestras play them at the same time, and
and all the experimental electronic stuff.
Yeah, but I love the conversion of classical to electronica.
Me too.
And even like synthesizer Beatle records where like they take like Eleanor Rigby and do like
that's what Mike Flicker and Howard Leese were up
so they were doing all that.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were
here come you lasses.
And here comes Heart, now called Heart, into the club scene there at the what was it called, the Aquarius Room or something, at the I forget the name, the big showplace cabaret that had the small room downstairs and the other room over there, and the big showroom upstairs where all of the review type bands and all all the African American review with horn part bands would come out. Big touring bands.
Yeah.
And Hart got gigs at Oil Can Harry's is what it was called. And so one of my first gigs was playing at Oil Can Harry's with Hart. And I'd only been in coffee shops, like one little acoustic chick, with like doing, I don't know, Jethro Tull and, that stuff.
What Jethro Tull song were you playing?
I did Locomotive Breath.
Okay.
I love that song.
It's a good song.
It's a really good song. I didn't do Aqualung, though. It's a little graphic for me. But anyway, so it was the Trial by Fire, and Mike Flicker happened to come and see Hart play at Oil Can Harry's.
And that was it.
And heard Anne's voice. And that was it.
Yeah.
And I was joining soon thereafter, after I did my stint in university, just for my own, edification. And so when I joined, he was like, I think just the Anne version of this band is better than the two chick version of this band. And so let's have some opinions about how they sound together. And so my addition into the band was really heavily scrutinized. And I had to kind of put the gloves on a little bit.
That's so crazy to me.
I'm good enough for this.
And you would have been how old at the time? Like 19 or something?
19.
Right? Yeah. That's crazy to me.
But I was good, and I could Anne used to call it like, do the cow show, like at a like at a county fair.
Yeah.
Like the cow that could dance, like. So I'd play Angie by Paul Simon, like some really complicated.
Oh, I see.
Kind
of prove
my guitar prowess.
But is it
and harmony singing and stuff?
But I mean, to me, that's just so crazy that you would want a sibling out of a group, especially when you talk about singing.
Oh, I know. Well, I had to just prove it real hard.
Yeah. But did Anne stick up for you, or what was her position? Is she kind of in the?
She really stuck up for me. Which once in a while she will do, and not as often as I would like. But she said, "No, I'm not going to do this without my sister," which was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was in.
What was
come hell or high water, and it all came.
I went back and listened to the early records, because I think it helps sometimes, because you, as a fan, you think you know what the records sound like, or because of the hits. But I actually went back and listened.
I do know what you mean.
But then when you go back and you listen, I go, I didn't remember some of this folky stuff you guys were doing.
Totally.
There was like more prog elements in there.
There were some prog moments, and there was almost like a Carpenter's song.
I'm so glad you said that, because I didn't know if you would. Because
what was it called? "Love Me Like Music."
Yeah,
because
there is a kind of a Carpenter's-esque quality to your sister's voice, and I actually heard it listening to that record, especially the first one, and I thought, wow, they're weird. They're like, there's like part Carpenter, part Led Zeppelin. It's kind of a weird,
and a little bit of Elton John.
Okay,
like when she goes waddle and wow, she got the Elton John accent for a second. A little Karen Carpenter over here, a lot of Robert Plant everywhere else.
Yeah,
but still sounds like herself, because that's what great singers.
It's crazy.
You can always, identify a voice.
As soon as she opens her mouth, it's like
a Chris Cornell. And your voice, too.
Oh, God bless you.
It's very identifiable as you. Only you have your sound, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a weird, speaking personally, it's a weird thing, because I wanted to sing like other people. You know what I mean? I just didn't have the ability.
Me too. I've never been a born singer.
Yeah.
So I'm really put here for guitar playing mainly, I guess. But I love singing, and I love harmony singing. And so, lead singing is a challenge, but I enjoy the effort, that it takes to do it.
But just take us into the kind of like, did you guys sit around and talk about, this is what we want to sound like, or did it just kind of happen through work? Was there an intellectual overlay on that, or was just the musical output? It's a weird, to me, as a music fan, and again, I'm a fan, so. But it's a weird stew of influences. And I even found this weird clip of you guys. It must have been right around the first album, but you're playing, I don't want to say it's cable access, but it kind of feels like a local TV show.
That was in Spokane, Washington.
Okay, right. And at some point you even say, we're from around here. And you open with some kind of weird prog intro with synthesizers, and Anne's playing the flute. I remember like she's playing like Jethro Tull flute solos, and I was like, wow, this is really out there.
Exactly as you described it. It is every like influential element that were put together in the rich protein stew called Heart, you know, starting out.
Yeah.
And that we had a reel-to-reel tape recorder that we would push play at the beginning of all of our cabaret shows. And that show that you saw from Spokane, the university there, and it was like a public access thing and it was called Main Stage, and it was an edited together little introduction, the sound of a rocket launch, a countdown to a rocket launch. And then the band starts. You know? So then the flute part comes in and it's this big long, you know, like in the 70s, in the middle to late 70s, there was such an epic thing going on with Zeppelin and songs and Rush and songs that would go on to all these departures.
Well, Chicago, we had Styx was doing stuff like that too.
Styx would do that, of course. You know, it would be the epic. You know,
Boston, these kind of
Boston would go off of departures, the Baroque departures, and the long solo over here, and then back to the other part. And so songs could go for, well, Mistral Wind was one of those songs that Heart did, which is still my favorite song, maybe, but
I have to go listen to that.
It's like 7 minutes, you know, but it's a big journey that you go through, and it was the times where you're really just kind of tributing everybody that you love when you're trying to write new stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you just nailed it. You just said it sounds a little bit like Jethro Tull. It sounds a little bit like Elton over here, the accent over here, the Zeppelin-ish thing there. But it was not constructed that way on purpose. Thought like
that's what I was asking. Yeah, just
the thought construct on it was pretty much off the cuff and on the spot.
Yeah,
as it happened.
So I know you said you kind of had a fight for your spot, but like what in the early stage? Because I think this has a lot to do with what follows. Like, what was the balance of power in the group? Like, who's making the decisions? Was it a democracy? Like, how did that work?
That's a tough question because it's always been. There's always been a balancing act between we want it to feel like a family, a democracy with everyone's vote, and it just sort of never worked very well that way, to be quite honest with you.
I'm laughing because I've lived this movie.
You've seen that movie too. I've seen that movie too. But we still kept always still now, even now, do try to keep the democratic vibe in the band, though Ann and I equally are partners, half and half partners of the corporation called Heart.
Sure.
Right? You know,
but I always think it's interesting to look at these things because we have the luxury of hindsight of seeing all the success, right?
Yeah.
But in the beginning, you're just basically a club band.
Yeah.
A
touring.
It looks so obvious in hindsight, right? But at the time, there's insecurity. I've got to get my guitar solo in,
and there's egos. Yeah.
Oh, please,
like turn me up louder.
Yeah. Remember when you'd mix on an analog board, everyone would just keep
pushing themselves
pushing
up.
their faders up to make sure they were going to get hurt.
I've seen that movie a few times over.
So we don't have to get too into it because it's a somewhat explored history in your life. But you're on this label Mushroom.
Yes.
From the Paint People.
Yes.
And then the record comes out and it happened in 75, right? But in those days, records didn't sort of like light on fire necessarily right away. It took time.
Yeah, we region by region, it sort of spread out, and we got in a rent-a-car with an agent guy and went to radio stations, me and Ann, and schmoozed the program director. With our cute tops on, and kind of fluffed up. And
did you? Sorry, because I was going to get there, but I want to ask because two things. One is, are you having to sort of deal with? Because in my mind, and this is my memory from the time, because I was listening then, you always came across as a credible band. That you're being attractive and female wasn't necessarily a negative, but the band was a band because it was a good music band.
Yes.
So on one hand, you're over here, like you're dealing with this kind of, it's still sexist, but I mean, it was probably 10 times worse back then. But so you're dealing with like, how do we present ourselves as credible, but we have to get attention? And on the other hand, is the band, the guys in the band, are they almost trying to prove something because they're fronted by two women? Does that make sense, that question?
No, that's a great question. It's very relevant, and it's very a tricky eggshell walk to do emotionally when you're friends. And in my case, I was with the guitar player unwisely in the band then. And the other guys in the band, we knew their wives and their girlfriends, but we would see them with the groupies and not tell the wives or the girlfriends about the groupies.
The road,
And so there was a brother sisterhood where, what's happens in the band stays in the band, and we respected their privacy on those issues and didn't tell the wives about the girls.
But then the wife is mad at you.
The wife gets mad for not, and so there's all kinds of drama that you can only imagine half of that was always going on. Not to mention the fact that the attention just naturally would fall on me and Ann together as the focus point. So the album cover, where it wasn't democratic with the whole band on the front cover, where the guys were on the back cover of Baby Lestrange, and just me and Ann, the big black and white close-up of me and Ann on the front cover, really pissed them off.
Yeah.
And it was the back of our heads with their hair, and their pictures were inserted on top of the back of our hair. So it's like, so we're just the out of focus guys in the background in your hair. You know? And so that we always had to deal with.
I'm going to ask you something to opine on, because it's something I think that's it's something that most people, if they don't play in bands, especially successful bands, wouldn't understand. But I'm curious for your take on it. I found that in a weird kind of way, the public chooses your journey. Once you figure out who you are and what you are, the public kind of chooses your journey. Like in hindsight, because you let's call it Heart 1.0, very credible band.
Yeah.
Really good band. I mean, great drummer, great guitar parts. I mean, very credible band. Truly, like I say that without reservation. That's a great band.
Right.
Alice Cooper's original band, great band.
Right.
Like all those guys, great band. But at the end of the day, in hindsight, we can see that in the case of the sisters, it was ultimately going to be about you two.
Right.
Right. It's not a slight against the band. It's just the public chooses the story that they want. And it became about you. That's what I remember. It was about you two.
That's right.
It doesn't mean I didn't like the band. I just saw it was about you in my mind. Maybe it was the album covers, who knows? But it was the same thing with Alice Cooper, right? At some point it's like, it was about the band. They were a great band. But at some point it becomes about Alice Cooper. And 50 years later,
it's Alice
literally,
Cooper.
We're still talking about you and your sister.
That's true. And
the public knows your names. And it's no disrespect that they don't necessarily know their names. I might know their names because I'm a nerd, but... Well, what I'm saying is, but the reason I'm asking this, and this is where I'm asking for
another great question.
Thank you. But the reason I'm asking for your insight, because it's a particular spot that people like us occasionally find ourselves in, where the band is, or your fellow members, they're mad at you for what the public is interested in, and you're in this weird position where you're like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I'm not the one choosing this narrative. The public is choosing this narrative.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting. Well, again, it's a walking on eggshells type of a democratic, internal struggle that you can have with people you love, that you play good music with, that you feel tight with, and you
they're like
travel
they
with.
really are a family.
It is really a family, and it's your camaraderie, and it's your little, platoon that survive together. And, but what the public perception wants to focus on is something as simple as you at the center of it, or me and my sister at the center of heart, you have to kind of relinquish the idea of complete democracy in many ways, because you are the songwriter. You wrote the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
You wrote those songs. That was your soul coming through that speaker that put your own melancholy into the world,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's what me and Anne were, the songwriters. And we brought the guys in their jams, cool jams, and made them songwriters with us, but they never wrote the words either, you know what I mean?
Or the melodies, yeah.
Or the melodies and words, or the actual expressiveness that carries the message into the world, where it touches people, and the guy and his girl proposes to the lady, you know, he proposes at the prom when he's hearing Dog and Butterfly, for instance. And so that moment is caught in the music, into the, you know, the great collective consciousness of where music actually sits in people's souls.
Yeah.
And that's me and my sister. So every band member, first we had made the mistake of being their girlfriends. And then there was a lot of different lineups after that, you know, after the first lineup.
Yeah.
But this lineup today, for instance, is the best lineup ever. A lot of these Nashville cats and some Seattle guys are in it, and they get it. And, you know, they're more like studio guys. They're like having the blast of they've ever the most fun on big stages now.
Yeah.
So there's this beautiful freshness and democracy that's totally different from any other lineup that ever happened.
Yeah.
But still, the focus remains on at the center when people say, you know, oh, when you sing together, you know, when the sisters sing together, there's this thing that happens. Yeah. And we can't avoid that or try to pretend it's just a democracy, you know.
Yeah. If you think about it, because you and your sister singing together, the Beach Boys, Everly Brothers, Bee Gees,
Blood Harmony.
That's what I was after, There's something magical about when siblings can put their voices together. It's a God-given kind of spookiness.
It is kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people go, when I talk on the phone, people say, God, you sound exactly like your sister when you speak. And I go, I just wish I sounded like her when I sang too, because, you know, she has that one gift, but I guess my gift is the counterpart, you know, it's the accompaniment to hers.
But that's the magic, right?
Yeah, that makes magic happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
I found myself in going back listening to the records trying to pick your harmony out, because, you know, you tend to focus on the lead singer harmony, but I was trying to pick out what you were doing.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that weird harmonies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that are not
almost Gaelic.
Thirds.
A lot of Gaelic harmonies.
A lot of Gaelic.
Yeah.
A lot more of that stuff, for sure.
So you're catching traction, you're opening for Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
I mean, stuff is happening, but you get in this squabble with Mushroom Records because you guys want to get the hell out of there. They're just this little label.
Well, our album called Magazine that we were planning to do,
they just threw the tapes out, basically, right?
They got some lives. They just decided to release it before it was ready, against our will.
And people wonder why record companies get a bad reputation.
Yeah. So they put a live version of "I Got the Music in Me," you know,
what a weird one that is.
Kiki D song and Mother Earth Blues, I guess it was, and I played blues harp solo, and it was. We didn't want to release those songs.
Yeah,
those were club songs.
Yeah.
We wanted to be doing a concept album, and it was going to be a gatefold, and it was going to be like a fashion magazine with stories and pictures and glam and, you know, stories we would write. And we had a bunch of the songs written already, but it wasn't finished.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to push that out there and get the, you know, they were just being crass, you know, suits.
Yeah.
And so we took them to court. There was Mike Flicker was the key man clause where we got out of it, but the compromise was that we had to release it, finish the album
officially,
officially release it with the existing cover and the artwork that existed, with but finish recording, leave the track list, but finish recording anything new for in 2 weeks only, and then release it. So the first copy had the stamp on it that was like the first batch of them before there was a disclaimer. Anyway, it's a really boring long
but I think it's kind of similar to what I'm saying. It's like, even that situation, you're in a cool situation, they give you a little record deal, it takes off, and then they're trying to drag you by the ankles and say, no, you got to stay in this small situation. Even Sam Phillips knew he had to sell Elvis's contract to RCA. I mean, you guys were ready to take off. And even that weird record, which really wasn't a true record, that thing sold too.
Yeah, it happened to Bruce Springsteen, you know.
Yeah, but you ended up, was it Epic you went to, right?
Then we went over to Epic, a subsidiary.
Okay, now, major label, here you go.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know how those people think. You walk in those, okay, but when you walk in those meetings, are they suddenly, they're going to make it all about you and your sister? Like, what's the stress of that moment?
The stress of that moment is kind of like, we'd been a touring company so much. We'd been touring nonstop for 200 shows in that first
opening for everybody, right?
Opening for everybody.
Supertramp,
Supertramp.
Bachman Turner Overdrive, Rod Stewart. I'm sure there was a bunch that aren't even listed.
A whole bunch of boogie bands from the South, and all of them.
Yeah.
And every festival known to man, you know, with everybody in there, and you know, and we were. So there was a pressurized situation to get another album finished and written and finished and recorded pretty quickly after we just needed a break from touring for like a 2-year, 2 album, I think it was, a contract where you've got to churn them out, you know, crank them out on a timeline. And so our songwriting got a little more stressy. And so it was harder to get the flow, the energy, without feeling like, okay, Mr. Man in the suit, I'm going to write you a hit song, you know, on your timeline as you require them. And so we felt really we just felt, you know, stuck about it.
Yeah.
And so we were in a hurry, and we were being kind of bitchy with our songwriting, and we were biting the hand that feeds, basically, a little bit there. Oh, how punk of us. You know, and so we had a couple of turkeys along the way. It didn't really work out until the MTV 80s and the stable of LA's songwriter hit.
I can only speak for Chicago because they played all that stuff. So let's call it Heart 1.0. I mean, that stuff was on Chicago radio constantly. So I grew up hearing all that stuff.
And there were some good songs.
Very good songs. Definitely. But I'm saying is like, I say it occasionally on this podcast that it's hard for people to understand in the modern age that rock back then was very regional. So a band might be huge in Cleveland and Chicago and Akron, Ohio, but that would be it.
Yeah.
They couldn't get arrested in LA. And there were bands that were huge in LA that couldn't get arrested in Chicago.
Right.
And that's why there's so much touring went on, because you had to kind of build your relationships and build your audience.
You'd work with the radio guys to play the album, to play your song before you got to town, before you would play the song.
So you were huge in Chicago. That's all I know. Chicago guys
Chicago was
big market.
We always had a great relationship with Chicago and Detroit, Midwest.
I mean, my memory, and this would have been like I'm 10 years old, but my memory is that for whatever reason, and it kind of shocks me because, again, there's a lot of acoustic stuff on the records.
Right.
You were really accepted by a rock audience wholeheartedly. And I think it's the way you were positioned on those stations. There were 2 stations in Chicago, WLUP and WMET. But they played, even though they played like Zeppelin and Sabbath, they would play The Cars and Heart.
Right.
So
exactly.
They told their audience,
we were crossover.
Yes, you belonged in this tradition of rock.
That told the audience where to place us in their category.
Yeah, so
which compartment we belonged in.
But in the Chicago market, you were presented as a credible rock band.
Yeah.
It was less about being good looking or whatever. I don't know how it worked everywhere else, but in Chicago, it always was presented as this is a great band.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's a real rock show. I mean, there still, even to this day, there's not a lot of girls in rock bands, like heavy rock bands. Heart's a heavy rock band.
Yeah.
We do a lot of romantic ballads and moments, and Led Zeppelin, Rain Song, or Going to California, or whatever, because that's really satisfying stuff to play. But we also we put the hammer down as well. So and it makes us different, I think, from a whole bunch of other bands, especially having women in it. So, I guess I think that helped us stay in that category.
Yeah.
Because we're actual rock.
It's not so much to make a social point as much as it is that you were in a place where there really wasn't a business for women fronting rock bands. I mean, yes, there were women that fronted rock bands, but you kind of built a different type of business that didn't exist before you.
I think that's right. I think that's what radio was really, especially in the Midwest starting out, was even the most helpful for us.
Yes.
Because of those radio stations that helped put us in that demographic,
Yeah.
Along with other.
Yeah. I mean, I have very strong memories.
Serious rock bands.
Yeah, but I mean, I have such strong memories of having you marketed amongst these greats. It was very interesting.
Really cool, though. I mean,
I feel absolutely.
Really. I have so much gratitude around that. Gratitude that. We didn't just intentionally break some glass ceiling for women, but we were just there being competent to begin with.
That's kind of my point. You didn't market it as, hey, we're two hot chicks fronting a band. Right. It's like, no, we're a credible band. This is what we do. We have our own musical style. Yeah. And I think that's part of why it resonated with the Chicago rock crowd or the Midwest rock crowd, because it wasn't about anything other than we play great music.
Right. We were just coming through the door of being good musicians first, and the image making stuff that started up with MTV was after that.
Yeah.
So
we'll get there. That's a whole nother.
There's a whole there's a story to tell.
We'll get to that story. This is my little note, but I'm going to just tell you what I wrote because I think it makes me laugh. We're actually born one day apart. I'm March 17th, you're March 16th.
Oh, you're St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But it makes me laugh because I'm also in a band with the I'm also in a band with the Gemini. So it's like when I think of you in a band with the Gemini sister and you as a Pisces, this makes me laugh.
Oh, well,
because you're talking about two twin signs, right?
Anne is June 19th, the day after Paul McCartney's birthday.
There you go.
And she's a double Gemini, so she's at least 4 people, the twins.
Which one do you get along with?
A couple of them.
A couple.
Yeah, a couple.
I always say with Geminis, it's
the main 2 twins.
I always say with Geminis, there's the person out front that sort of does about 95% of the work, and then occasionally the other one shows up and you're like, who are you?
Exactly.
There's this other person in there.
That's
you're
really
like,
right.
I don't really know you, but hi, you're here. Yeah.
You're like, where were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can take this however you want. But I did see where you were talking about the beautiful cocaine heydays of the 70s, and you talked and your sister talked about. I think she was talking more about alcohol, but you were talking about cocaine, and it's not really a question. It's just to illustrate that.
You mean the 80s?
Well, but were you partying in the 70s, or is it?
Well, the Mind Expanded part was the 70s. Okay, after the late 60s. Yes. That was the mind-opening times and the human potential.
Are we talking pot, mushrooms,
mushrooms, and psychedelia? LSD.
Okay, right.
And so I saw God a few times in the late 60s for sure, with the right music on and the right setting and the right dosage, and all the things that you never would ever, folks, do again today. But because there's no. There's no control over anything anymore. But then when cocaine started taking over with MTV in the 80s.
Okay, so that's an 80s.
That's an 80s thing.
Okay, so we're at the 80s.
So it's the ego 80s.
Sure. What year in your mind does the, let's call it the original blueprint of the band stop working as effectively, and then you're kind of put in this position. I know you switch record labels, but you're put in this position now where it's outside writers and
well, the first, like 1975, back in the year of our Lord 1975, until about 5 years later when it was turning into 1980.
So somewhere there you start to feel
the 5-year lifespan of Heart was pretty much over.
Okay.
Like they say, every rock band has a 5-year lifespan.
I go 7, but it's
5
very,
to 7.
Yeah, I think 7's the magic number there for
but
me.
Remember with 5, it was like U2. It was like everybody. It was cool for about 5 or 7 years, and then not. And then you have to kind of prove it all over again.
You got to be cool again. Yeah,
got to get cool somehow again. Am I cool yet?
But what's the year they sit you down and say, by the way, you've got to come at this
That's
differently?
about 1970. I mean 84.
Okay,
3, 4, because we'd done the Private Audition album of the early 80s, which was a turkey. Had some good songs, but it was a turkey. So then we ran out of our contract, and management and everything, and record label and everything kind of dropped off. So to get back in the game around mid-80s, we re-signed. We took on outside songwriters. We put on the corsets and did the videos.
Big hair.
The big hair, and got some really great songs out of that.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that we still love to do.
Yeah.
But the artifice part of it, just living behind the imaging making part of it, was really not our natural state of being. It
strikes me as odd.
We were just like little barefoot flower children from Seattle, basically, and tomboys,
So, because it strikes me as odd, because again, I was listening, let's call it Heart 1.0. So when this other Heart shows up, it's like, well, it's not that it's bad. It's just not the Heart that I know.
When you're in Africa, you put on the African clothes. It's kind of felt like when in Rome, you put on the toga.
I see.
The whole culture had moved.
But did you
into this
internally? It's kind of a please. I don't want to cut you off.
One word I was trying to come up with. It was when you go. It was a costume party.
Okay, but internally. And because you're siblings, I think it seems to be more intense in my mind, but you tell me. No, but I'm saying is,
yes,
you're sitting there. This is my fantasy scenario, and you take it from here. You're sitting there and you're like, okay, they want us to do this. They're putting pressure on us, and we can take this lane, or we can keep doing what we're doing. Because to me, knowing how important music is to you and your sister and your family, and that you had won by being an integral artist, it's a weird thing to sort of flip the switch down the road, some 8 to 10 years later, and be like, okay, now we're going to become more of a commercial entity, and sort of subsume ourselves in this greater force. And the thing that really jumped out at me as a fellow songwriter is 5 hits on the big record, the Heart. I think it's just self-titled Heart.
Yeah.
So 5 singles on the record. You and your sister didn't write one of those songs.
That's right.
Did that do something to you, or you were cool with it?
It did something to us. As songwriters, we had like artistic integrity. Our precious artistic integrity was really poked at by that,
Yeah.
Because we'd been such a hardworking touring company, such a touring act. We felt like we'd been kind of shoved into a conveyor belt, kind of commercially, a conveyor belt of hit-making machinery where we didn't have time to really search our own souls and get our next better songs written yet.
Yeah.
Because we were so busy churning out the hits that other people had written, and the money was bigger than ever, and it was bigger than the first big success we ever had.
I mean, when it hit, you guys were massive.
It was massive in the 80s, and sorry, fiddling with the sound man's life.
He'll come out here with a stick if you.
don't touch your top. But it was kind of like a real devil's bargain. I mean, in
But
the classical
did you
sense.
feel that at the time?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think Anne in particular, I guess one of the more perfect examples is the song All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You, a Mutt Lange song that was our biggest ever massive smash global hit around the world. And it's a great song. It sounds really cool. It's a really great track, and I love the track. The hook is there. It's like the production just kicks. It sounds great on the radio, and you just want to roll down your window, and chew gum or something, when you hear that on a summer day, but Anne had to sing the lyrics, right? And her own artistic integrity was pushed to its limit, where she had to tell this story song that felt more like a country western story song.
Sure.
About this rainy night.
I see.
Where we changed the gender on the song.
Yeah.
And they banned us in Ireland, consequently, which was we were kind of proud of that, actually.
Yeah.
But so it just wasn't a fit,
Yeah.
The commercialism, the corporateness of it all, was just not our bag.
I don't mean this as a joke or a pun, but the phrase that comes to mind is like, did it break your heart? I mean,
it did, though. It was kind of heartbreaking. It was kind of soul bending.
Yeah.
Because you just, like inside, you're just kind of like, I'm smiling and I'm really happy for the great success. But living behind the image, the look and the stilettos and the hair and the hairspray and trying to make it look like an MTV video on live stages then,
I see,
was even harder.
Yeah.
And the acoustic guitar was so outman during that time that it was like, nobody wants to hear that folky now.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really kind of encouraged or kind of even in some ways allowed to put anything acoustic on a lot of those songs, unless it was just like, just a little spice that you leave way up on the top, way over there in the upper register that you don't even hear. And so, so when I had the kind of fluke first #1 single, These Dreams, that I sang myself, I didn't have a guitar in my hands to sing it with.
I see.
So I was like, what am I supposed to do with my hand?
It is weird when you're used to playing guitar on stage and suddenly you got to stand there.
I had no idea what to do. And so I was trying to be like Joni Mitchell, like she has the coolest expression, when she was up and not playing guitar, know. And my mom came to one of our shows, she goes, so when you sang These Dreams, you looked like you're doing the hula. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I should at least hold the guitar. So then I just learned it on the mandolin, and then we've done different ways of me being able to play it while I sing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the 80s was not a perfect fit. But there were the songs, some of those great songs, like Alone in particular, and These Dreams.
Yeah.
But Alone sounds to me like it could have been one of those French cafe World War I in black and white, kind of a crooner, or like a woman singing about her soldier, in the war.
Did you compromise? May not be the right word, but let's just say call it. It's a form of compromise. You're in this situation, but did you see it at the time as just survival? Was it like, look, this is kind of what we got to do to stay in the game?
Yeah, I think we felt like we have to wear these clothes, and we need to make these videos, and we have to take the suggestion of the record company and try out these songs. And we listened to stacks of demo songs by all these hit songwriters, and some were the ones that obviously were a fit, were a great fit, but when we went into rehearsals and tried to learn all these songs, like song after song after song, it felt like we were giving up our territory as artists because it was someone else's style.
Yeah.
That they were like, what color do you want to paint this room? The 30-second, like listening to demos is like the 30-second. Well, what character would you like me to become?
I see, yeah.
And especially for Anne singing the words, like, when she started having this big reaction towards a lot of these songs feeling like a victim. Like, these are songs written like, why do you lie? Even What About Love has got a lot more of a punchy kind of, I'm angry at you thing.
Yeah.
But like, he left me, now what do I do? The victim songs were just not her way of expressing rock music.
It hurts to hear you tell it. I don't know. I mean,
you know what
it's
I mean?
not my story, but it
she's
just
not
hurts.
A whiny singer, so she's just could not get behind the girly stuff.
Yeah, because to the Gen X generation, that grew up hearing those earlier songs, it was so. The empowering is a weird word because it's very coded in this world, but it was like, this is our music and this is who we are and this is what we do. And your sister has a very unique stage charisma,
Yeah.
Kind of like almost like a darker Stevie Nicks or something. You know what I mean? Like more like,
she's quite the storyteller.
Yes, and
but she means it, and phoning it in is never what she's.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So suddenly you put a person who's used to singing their own lyrics,
right.
songs they believe in, stories from their own life. Some of your biggest 1.0 hits are, they're based on things that actually happened.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're in this weird spot where you're like, what happened to the band? What happened to the story?
Right.
I don't want to connect this, but you tell me if there's any connection, because much was made in this era about your sister's appearance. It was a huge talking point. I can't imagine it was very comfortable for her.
No, that was painful stuff, definitely. And in the ego, sort of cocaine ego-driven, image-driven 80s, it was way less mind expanded from where we came from. And the corporateness was kicking in on all levels, on every level, and so they would put her, stretch the frame in the video, and it was really obvious. They were trying to make her look skinnier, and a lot of the live reviews of our live shows would really, really trash on Anne, just trash talk about her weight. And so we just never even looked at reviews anymore. It was just really a rough time for her emotionally to just be this amazing singer. Like, I would go around and try to stick up for her and go, so is Aretha Franklin too fat? It doesn't matter if it's Aretha Franklin,
Well, now it seems even sillier because you see with body positivity movement, there's some of the biggest artists in the world are people have a little bit of size in them, and it doesn't diminish them in the eyes of the audience. In many ways, the audience says you're a real person who's not trying to be somebody you're not.
Like Adele, when Adele first made a big splash, she wouldn't lost weight and looked great, but I mean, people loved her for her talent. And it was a great lesson in the culture for that reason.
Sure.
When Adele made a huge hit out of her talent, because the sound of her voice was so relatable and so emotional and real, and so
But was there any connection there between the circumstance you found yourself in with having success but feeling somewhat disassociated with it, and her own issues? Was like, did that connect, or were they just ran on two separate tracks?
Well, there's where you have to learn your compartmentalizing skills, in your life.
Yeah.
Because these things are running over, all this painful kind of shit is over here.
I see.
And then, but still, there's this compartment where it's really fun to be in a rock band and really fun to be on a big rock stage, but my feet hurt because I don't like wearing these shoes, and then there's this other compartment where, you've got your family and you've got a beach house because of all the success that all these other compartments have provided you with. So it's, I think it's just kind of dangerous to compartmentalize your life too much.
Yeah.
But it's also a skill that it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. This is more of a personality artistic question than a life question. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you were in a marriage with somebody who's a very famous writer director. You met when he was doing Fast Times at Ridgemont High, somewhere around there. It's Cameron Crowe we're talking about.
Yep.
So it strikes me that you have these two very strong personalities in your life. You know what I mean? Like that seems to come out.
Yeah, well, I'm a collaborator. I love collaborating, and with Anne, I love collaborating with Anne and our friend Sue from when I was 12. We met. Wrote a bunch of heart songs with me and Anne, Sue Ennis, and then with Cameron, I'd been with guys in the band, which was really a bad idea, and so here was this really cool, kind of nerdy, smart writer type guy, who had a real grasp of words and wrote for Rolling Stone magazine.
But also but he has a great sense of cultural zeitgeist stuff, which is rare.
The cultural zeitgeist about music,
but culture too,
and the whole culture.
Yeah,
and how the culture feels, and how to feel.
That's a rare talent.
That's a huge talent to see what the culture's feeling or about to feel.
Yeah,
and want to hear.
Yeah,
what they hear, what they want to hear.
Yeah,
and so that's a rare gift.
Yeah,
too. So I love collaborating with really gifted, talented.
Because the obvious question, I think, is, most people want to make things about themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in your life, you haven't necessarily made it about you. You've been always worked in like a collective frame.
That is true with me. I like being a leader, and I like being decisive. Like executive decisions to make. I do that. I'm okay to jump at that and just, okay, everybody shut up. Here's what it's going to be, because too many cooks in the kitchen. I can't do that either.
So let's put a little smiley face on the 80s talk. So, like many in the Gen X generation, when you showed up on Alice in Chains' song "The Rooster," it was kind of a really interesting thing. Not only was it a beautiful song, and it's a classic, and it's such a beautiful song that Jerry wrote about his father's experiences. I love Jerry. I think Jerry's one of the great writers of all time.
My brother.
I'm always at the
Me too.
At the altar of Jerry,
Me too, I am too.
I'm not one to hand out a lot of praise in that regard, but Jerry,
he's a great writer.
That's unbelievable.
Great player.
Oh, please.
And singer. Yeah.
Yes. So, but the other, I think, and I'm sure it wasn't intentional, it was kind of like, for someone like me, it was kind of like, oh yeah, they're cool. It was like a moment to remember.
Right. Well, that's, in the 90s then. Now
it's 93, 94.
We've arrived at the 90s now.
Yes.
And thank God we're out of the 80s now. And that's what it felt like coming back to Seattle then.
Yeah.
And I got to meet you around at that time at some club.
Yeah.
We were upstairs, crammed into some smoky club, and I was like, "Hey, it's you." And you're like, "Hey, it's you." What?
I talked to you about the Heartless 7-inch, but that's what I remember.
That's what it was. Oh, doing it again. That's what it was. I remember that really well.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I love his music. And, I was mutually impressed with you. But we came home, and guys like Jerry, we came back out of the LA 80s back to Seattle to take a break and start a band called the Lovemongers that was just a side project.
Just for fun, yeah.
No managers, no record companies, just go play and sing in clubs, whatever covers we wanted to do or whatever we wanted to do. But when Andrew Woods died from Mother Love Bone right around the same time. My friend Kelly Curtis, who's still my best friend, was managing.
And is still Pearl Jam's manager.
Still was still, I think he's still doing Pearl Jam. Yeah. Said, you got to come and meet the community at this house where we're going to have like a wake for Andrew Woods.
Oh, okay.
Bring the dogs. And so we loaded up the dogs, me and Cameron, and we went to, I think it was Andrew Woods' house in Seattle. Big, huge old kind of a band house, and his wife or girl was grieving there, and all the dogs were running around, and everybody was crying and laughing and loving the dogs together. And that's where I met Jerry and Mike Inez and, Lane and
great people.
All those guys, the Screaming Trees guys.
Great guys.
Great band, great guys. The whole scene really came out for that night. That was a big party.
Is it too obvious to say you were kind of like, oh, this is what I remember? Not
from being in.
No, but it's like, this is the music I remember, like people together.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
I get that.
It's like, oh, this is back.
I'm back where it feels like a music community. Yes. Yeah.
So the unintended consequence, I think, of you guys being on the.
It was the perfect blessing inside of a huger curse.
Well,
was the blessing of coming together at a wake.
Yeah.
For a really great local guy. And I'd seen Mother Love Bone at I think it was the off ramp or something.
Yeah, and he would have probably been
Andrew
a fairly very successful.
Yeah, and he chugged on a big pitcher of beer and spit it out in the crowd, and I spit beer all over me because I was up in the crowd, and I was like, yeah, I've been anointed, and then he died, and so we all met there, and Jerry was kind of the first sweet soul to kind of make me feel like, oh God, they don't hate us after the 80s, after the MTV.
No, you were beloved by that generation. That's
which we didn't understand that.
Yeah.
We just thought they think we're sellouts because of all of the, the corporateness that they were all.
That's what I mean about a reminder. It was kind of like,
here's a community.
No, to hear your voices in that context, especially being in the generation, it was like,
that was the moment where it kind of, we kind of melded into the 90s.
But I think it might sound trite to say, but it sort of reminded me that you were one of us, or we were one of you.
That's what it felt like, exactly.
Like you'd kind of come home back to music.
Yeah. And, real guitars and real drums and real garages that sound good.
But it's in the name. It's heart, right?
I know. Still always trying to live up to the name.
Well, that's a tough.
It's hard to live up
that's
to
a tough
sometimes.
Leap. So I think that's a nice bow on that story, right?
Yeah.
Because we know after that it balances itself out.
When Jerry Cantrell came up to me in the corner with a guitar and said at Anne's house at a party and said, how do you play the beginning of Mistral Wind? I'm like, okay, this is good. This is a good thing. I've got a family. I got a family now.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Back with my family.
I saw you interviewed by Dan Rather, and he asked you some interesting questions, but there's that moment in it's mid-90s where you meet with your sister and you say, look, I got to kind of put this thing on pause. I have to try to have a family, and that's got to be a tough moment. Yeah,
that was really a tough moment. She didn't understand why I wanted to step away and try to start my family. She didn't get it, and she never did. I don't think. But she never got it.
What? If it's too personal, just so you can skip past it. But what didn't she get? Like, which part of that didn't she get?
Well, I think nurture. Like, I'm a nurturing person just by nature. nurturing nature person. And she's she defines herself more by the actual job.
I see.
And the work of it.
Yeah, that's how I am, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're
I'm
Pisces, so.
But I'm a weird...
But you're a weird Pisces.
I'm a weird Pisces, yeah.
No, I get that, though.
Yeah. But I get the idea of being defined by your work.
Just defined by the work, but I think in Anne's case, just personally, she's really feels alone and lonely and not okay without it. So she's not okay without it. So she has to have the stage to be okay. To get the love back from an audience is how she's gonna be okay. And I've done a lot of therapy over the last few years, and it's really helped me figure out stuff like that. But I think in Anne's case, she relies her own definition of who she is. She has to have an audience, and she has to be on a stage, and that's the only way she feels like she really gets love in her life. As much as I love her, and I always will, love to be on stages with her or any room with her.
Let me take a guess and see if this resonates with you. Again, if it's too personal, you can skip past it. I think for people who are the best at what they do, I think it's very confusing for them when either through life or health limitations or circumstance, they don't have access to the thing that sort of, connects with the thing that they do.
Right.
On one hand, it's a gift because, like I said, your sister's the type of person, she just opens her mouth and it works.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
yeah.
right? I watched a bunch of old live clips of you, and there it is. I mean, it's not studio trickery. It's like, it is there.
It's just all
and
there.
You've heard it more than anybody else in the whole world.
True.
But there's that thing where I think for people who are extremely gifted, they don't totally understand the nature of the gift. And the closest thing they can get to understanding the nature of the gift is when it's in action.
Yeah.
Because when it's not in action, and again, I'm asking your opinion, I'm just giving mine.
Right.
When it's not in action, it's sort of confusing because that is the thing that defines everything. It's the Promethean fire. Without the Promethean fire, it's kind of like, well, who am I?
You couldn't say it better than that. I mean, I couldn't say it better than that. You're exactly on the crux of it all with her need to be fulfilled in her life by doing the work.
Yes.
And when I needed to needed to step away from that, she took it as punishment. Or something, and never got over.
Was it jealousy, or what's the punishment? Is it?
I think punishing her by not being there to continue to support, the beautiful habit we have in heart that supports her well-being, her sense of purpose and being at all.
Yeah.
Her life, that her fulfillment. But I think punishment, I mean, I was just trying to this is a sabbatical. I'll be right back. Nothing is changing. I'm just going over here.
Yeah.
There's a pause. Then we're back, And, but sort of a jealousy too, because she doesn't have she didn't want to naturally do that for her own. She wasn't as interested in having kids as I was. She didn't have a husband either at the time. So I think she wanted to have everything I wanted, but not without losing the job at the same time, So just kind of an impossible scenario for her to grasp or for us to balance with each other over. But, then we've sort of pushed through some really rough stuff and got back where the safety of the two of us, like, regardless of, it's like being in the eye of a hurricane when we're together, because there's all the power trips that swirl around. There's cows flying by, there's tractors, Management, all that stuff that can go so wrong for so long, will and has been going wrong for a long time. But then we get up on a stage together, and there's this bubble, and there's this safe zone, and there's magic there. And it's just bigger than, it's like the songs themselves are larger than life.
Yeah.
It's what the songs inform us all, like the songs we love, so your songs, that people hold in their souls, that help them through their lives, that it's the healing power of music, right? I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, but it's what good music can do.
Yeah. But what strikes me when you're talking is it's that you're sisters.
Right. It's blood harmony.
At the end of the day, it's the bond.
It's the bond of family.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
That's the beauty in
that story. At the end of the day. Yeah. Hopefully the day's not ending anytime soon.
I just want to say thank you for sharing all that. It's really beautiful.
Oh, no problem.
The one thing I want to say about this sort of the Promethean gift, it's more an oft-told story when somebody has the Promethean gift and they throw it away.
Yeah.
The other side of that story is the person who wants to continue to use that Promethean gift. Their life is defined by the use of that gift. And again, through circumstance or health or life, whatever life happens, they're not able to apply it in the same way. That's a less told story. But in many ways, there is an honorable aspect to it, because it's like, I've been given something and I want to use it.
That's right. And being kept from using it, can be just like being wounded.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because I've been lucky enough to play with really incredibly people that are talented in a way that I find sort of shocking. And that's why I even use the word with your sister. There's a shocking talent there. It's
true.
Like, how does that work?
Very well said.
Because it's more than just winning a genetic lottery.
Yeah.
You got the right set of pipes.
Yeah.
It's all there. Like, whatever, if you want to make a star in a test tube, then there it is. It's like beauty, charisma, sass, fire, a voice, and not just a voice, a voice that means something to people. And you were part of that beautiful organization of that.
No, I know. I get to accompany that fire, I'm part of the fire.
Absolutely. Well, I think
I fuel the fire.
This is a bit therapy, but I think what she was saying in her own, now we're talking Pisces talk. Yeah. I think what she was saying to you in her moment was, I need you.
Right.
Which is really, if you think about it, it's ultimately an endorsement.
Well, it was an endorsement, but it's like, don't leave me.
Sure.
Like she felt abandoned.
Yeah.
Because I needed to do something with my life that wasn't the two of us doing it together.
Yeah.
And I get that. I completely.
You must be a really good supporter, because she probably didn't know how much she needed you until she was going to lose you.
Yeah, well, I never wanted to make her feel left.
Yeah.
Either.
Well, you proved that over time.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And and we've still got probably a victory lap to do, or two,
I hope
or
so.
Maybe more than that. But as long as we both can do this together, it's like I said, it's just this. It's a space unto itself. It's the family place. It's the blood harmony. It's the 'cause like your own DNA is also their DNA,
Yeah.
So it's a cellular level.
That's why I brought up Everly's and Bee Gees. There's something there, Kinks.
Yeah.
There's something there that's so deep that I think the public doesn't understand how intense it must be.
It's kind of intense.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a level of intensity that I don't feel I understand, but I've talked to enough of the people or the families along the way, mostly privately, to get a sense of what did that really feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Everly Brothers, probably the greatest harmony singers ever, who the Beatles idolized.
Totally.
The ability for them to harmonize Phil and Don.
Yeah.
And there was such an intense attraction and repulsion between the two guys over 50-something years.
Yeah.
And I saw them play once.
Oh, wow.
And of course, you hear the legend of the stories. And I was watching them, and they were so good
Yeah.
I, at one point, because you'll appreciate this because you sing harmony, they were so good, I thought, I'm just going to, every time they hit a bum note, I'm just going to make a note of it because they're not hitting any bum notes. And over a 90-minute show, they hit 4 bum notes in
like
all those harmonies.
A tiny bit sharp, tiny bit flat over here.
4 out of 90 minutes. And this is when they're like in their 50s, you know what I mean?
And no pre-record.
No, this is just two guys. At one point they did a thing, we would like to sing, you know, we grew up with our parents singing on radio shows. We like to sing some songs about old Kentucky and stuff like that. Yeah. And they did a little portion of the show where they did like 10 minutes and they had that weird mic where they would, you know, it was like a mic with a U so they were both could look at each other when they sang. Mm-hmm. So they did about 7 or 8 minutes of just acoustic, just the two of them. I mean, it was insane. Oh, but when you think of the alchemical dynamic of being from the same parent, from the same genetic, you know, helix,
like singing harmony with your sister,
and to choose a life together.
Yeah, and like when you know someone that well from on a DNA level like that. And you sing harmony together, and I'm singing, for instance, on a song like Dog and Butterfly, I could just watch her sing it and know what to do, what not to do, and exactly on the spot do it the same, just on the spot, because of the way they're breathing, just, you know, how they're singing that particular time. And it's a pretty cool thing that I feel lucky. Another thing I'm super grateful to have in my life is, you know, that blood harmony, and having seen the Beatles on Ed Sullivan show, like every other rock person ever did, and just follow that course all the way through, and have that same course that I'm on today from when I was 9. That's like insane. Like that doesn't. Yeah. Nobody knows where they're going at the beginning of their life like that. I feel like way too lucky. Like my parents should have been divorced. You know, we should have been poor. You know, I should have never picked up a guitar.
You don't want the trauma.
I should have had all the pain.
You don't want the trauma.
I mean, I had plenty of trauma, believe me.
Well, you don't want that trauma. Maybe that's.
But that particular other trauma, I never was forced to have, or I was lucky enough to not have.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.
You too.